Here, in a world unseen by the naked eye, is where all life begins. We are looking at a cell. It is the most basic, fundamental unit of every living thing on our planet. From the tallest redwood tree reaching for the sky to the smallest ant scurrying across the forest floor, everything is made of these tiny structures. They are the bricks that build the magnificent house of life. Each one is a self-contained world, bustling with activity, working tirelessly to keep an organism alive and well. They are truly remarkable, a testament to the intricate and beautiful complexity of nature. These microscopic marvels are more than just simple blobs. Inside each one is a carefully organized factory. There is a control center, the nucleus, which holds all the instructions for what the cell must do. This instruction manual is called DNA. There are power plants, called mitochondria, that generate energy. There are even transport systems and waste disposal units. Every part has a specific job, and they all work together in perfect harmony. It is this incredible cooperation that allows life to flourish in so many wonderful and diverse forms, from the depths of the ocean to the highest mountain peaks. Consider the leaf of a plant, soaking up the sun's rays. It is made of millions of plant cells. Each cell is a small green powerhouse, capturing sunlight and turning it into food. Or think of your own body. You are made of trillions of cells. There are muscle cells that help you move, nerve cells that send messages to your brain, and skin cells that form a protective barrier against the outside world. Every single action, every thought, every breath is powered by the collective work of these tiny, diligent life forms. They are the unsung heroes of the living world. The journey of a cell is a continuous, cyclical story of birth, growth, and renewal. This process, known as the cell cycle, is one of the most fundamental processes in all of biology. It is how organisms grow larger, how they heal from injuries, and how life itself is passed from one generation to the next. Without this constant cycle of division and creation, life as we know it would simply cease to exist. It is a quiet, hidden dance that has been going on for billions of years, a silent engine driving the grand spectacle of evolution. The life of a cell begins with a period of growth. This stage is called interphase, and it is the longest part of the cell's journey. Imagine a young animal just born. It needs to eat and grow to become strong, and it is the same for a new cell. During this time, the cell busily absorbs nutrients from its surroundings. It gets bigger and stronger, producing all the proteins and molecules it needs to function properly. It is a period of intense activity, a quiet but crucial preparation for the dramatic events that are to come. The cell is building up its resources, getting ready for its ultimate purpose. Once the cell has grown to a sufficient size, it must make a critical decision. It is time to prepare for division. A key part of this preparation involves its genetic material, the DNA. The cell must make a perfect copy of its entire instruction manual. This process is called DNA replication, and it is done with breathtaking precision. The long, twisted ladder of DNA unwinds, and each side is used as a template to build a new matching side. It is an incredibly delicate operation, as even the smallest mistake could have serious consequences for the new cells that will be formed. This preparatory phase is not just about copying DNA. The cell also needs to duplicate all of its other essential components. It creates more mitochondria to provide energy for the demanding process of division. It builds more of the internal structures that will help pull the cell apart later on. It is like a team preparing for a major expedition, carefully checking all of its equipment and making sure there are enough supplies for two separate groups. Everything must be doubled, ensuring that both new cells will have everything they need to survive and thrive on their own. Throughout this entire period of growth and preparation, there are checkpoints. These are like quality control inspectors in a factory. The cell pauses at these specific points to check that everything is proceeding correctly. It checks if it has grown large enough. It meticulously examines the newly copied DNA to make sure there are no errors. Only when all the checks are passed and everything is in perfect order does the cell receive the signal to move on to the next, most dramatic stage of its life, division. This careful regulation is essential for maintaining the health of the organism.
Perfect.
Now the moment of transformation has arrived. The cell enters a stage known as mitosis. This is the Great Division, a carefully choreographed dance where one cell becomes two. The first thing that happens is that the copied DNA, which was previously a long tangled mess, condenses and coils up tightly. It becomes visible under a microscope as short, thick structures called chromosomes. Each chromosome consists of two identical copies called sister chromatids, joined together in the middle. They are like two identical twins holding hands, ready to be separated and sent to new homes. Next, a remarkable structure begins to form inside the cell. It is called the mitotic spindle, and it is made of tiny fibers that stretch from one end of the cell to the other. Think of it as a set of microscopic ropes and pulleys. These fibers attach to the chromosomes, right at their center. They then begin to pull and push, carefully lining up all the chromosomes in a perfect single-file line right across the middle of the cell. This alignment is absolutely critical. It ensures that when the cell divides, each new daughter cell will receive an identical and complete set of genetic instructions. With the chromosomes perfectly aligned, the spindle fibers begin to shorten. They pull with a steady, determined force. This is the climax of the division. The sister chromatids, the identical twins, are pulled apart from each other. One copy is drawn towards one end of the cell, and the other copy is drawn towards the opposite end. It is a beautiful and symmetrical separation, a silent, microscopic tug-of-war that ensures the equal distribution of life's blueprint. The cell itself begins to stretch, elongating as the two sets of chromosomes move further and further apart, each destined for a new beginning. Finally, with two complete sets of chromosomes at opposite poles, the cell itself begins to split in two. The outer membrane pinches inwards, squeezing tighter and tighter until the cytoplasm divides, a process called cytokinesis. In animal cells, it looks like a balloon being squeezed in the middle. In plant cells, a new cell wall forms down the center, creating a sturdy barrier between the two new cells. And just like that, where there was once one cell, there are now two. Two identical daughter cells, each with a full set of DNA and everything it needs to start its own life cycle all over again. For many cells, the journey does not end with division. The two new daughter cells will now enter their own period of growth, embarking on the same cycle their parent cell just completed. This continuous process is how a small seed grows into a mighty tree, or how a baby grows into an adult. It is also how our bodies heal. When you get a cut, cells near the wound begin to divide rapidly, creating new skin cells to close the gap and repair the damage. This endless renewal is a fundamental property of life, a constant, quiet force of creation happening within us and all around us. However, not all cells are destined to divide forever. Some cells, after they have divided a certain number of times, or when they have become highly specialized, enter a resting phase. This stage is known as G0, or quiescence. In this state, the cell is no longer preparing to divide. It is simply carrying out its specific job. Many of the cells in your brain, the neurons, are in this resting state. They spend their entire lives sending and receiving signals without ever dividing again. They are the wise elders of the cellular world, performing their vital functions day in and day out. One of the most fascinating facts about this cycle is its sheer scale. In your own body at this very moment, millions of cells are dividing. It is estimated that around 2 trillion cell divisions happen in the human body every single day. That is an almost unimaginable number. Most of these are to replace old or damaged cells, such as the cells lining your stomach or your skin cells, which are constantly being shed. It is a silent internal industry of renewal that keeps you healthy and alive, a process so vast and yet so perfectly controlled that we are completely unaware of it. Understanding this elegant and precise cycle is incredibly important. When the cell cycle works correctly, it sustains life. But when the control mechanisms fail, and cells begin to divide without stopping, it can lead to diseases like cancer. By studying the life of a cell, scientists can learn how to fix these problems and develop new treatments. The journey of a single cell, from its birth to its division, holds the secrets to growth, healing, and the very nature of life itself. It is a microscopic drama that underpins the existence of every living creature on our beautiful planet.